So what's up, guys? I just listened to the victim in Eligio Bishop's case. I just listened to her cross-examination when she was recalled by Booker, his lawyer. And I just want to set some things straight because I have seen some comments and people making judgments, false assumptions, saying this, saying that, having absolutely literally no clue what they're talking about. And it's understandable because this is a very, I would say this is a pretty polarizing case so far. And it's a pressure cooker, I think, for both sides, to be quite honest with you. But I just want to set some facts down and make some things specifically clear for people that have something to say about me. The interview that I did with her after she left the cult, I don't even know if it was a week after she left, but it wasn't it was a pretty short time that I sat down with her after she had left the cult. Number one, and this is I have no regrets about what we did. I wish I would have known more information at the time that we talked. I wish I would have known a lot of things because a lot of things would have definitely happened differently. I know if you know me, you know that I'm going to always do the logical thing. First and foremost, I'm going to utilize common sense. I'm going to utilize critical thinking before I move forward with certain things. So I noticed that a lot of people do not possess critical thinking skills. And so you have to lay out the facts for them in black and white. Number one, I had no idea that she had gone to the police prior to doing the interview. We had not talked before that. I had no knowledge. I found out during the course of the interview that she had talked to detectives. As you could see, if you had critical thinking skills and you had a little bit of logic inside of you, you could probably ascertain that maybe I wasn't aware because I was encouraging her to go to the police during the interview. I was encouraging her to go to the police to file assault charges against the girls that assaulted her that night. I understand that too takes a little bit of critical thought. I have allowed people to kind of smear my name, smear the interview that I did with her for probably going on 2 years now. And I've kind of held back because I didn't want to kind of say anything further to, impact anything that might have already been in progress or in process with this case. So let me say again, for the soul folks in the back, I had no idea she had gone to the police prior to doing the interview with her. Some people say that, views were important. Why and how and in what world? I've been documenting this cult since 2019. My channel has never been monetized to make any money off of this documentation. I've never made a dime off of any carbonation cult videos that I've ever posted. I have never asked for a donation for myself from my documentation. I've always been crystal clear about the purpose of my channel, what it represented, and what it constituted during the course of my documentation. My intentions have always been pure as it relates to showing the inside and the out, the inner workings and the outer workings of a black sex cult in America. Number two, I had no type of communication with the detectives until they reached out to me. I did not reach out to those detectives and provide them with any bit of information until I was contacted personally. Okay? I had no idea there was even an investigation taking place until I was contacted. And I was told at that time to keep that under wraps while they did their investigation and built a case. And that's exactly what I did. I followed the law. I respect the law. And I did what was asked of me. Nothing more, nothing less. So I really want to kind of hone in on those factors. I know a lot of people have a lot to say, but at the end of the day, this case is not about you. This case is about the victim coming forward, making her statements, no matter when you look at the inner workings of a cult, you look at the fact that she had just left the group. Very shortly after leaving the group was I contacted and asked, did I want to interview with her? She's not the first cult member I'd interviewed. I don't know if you were following me, you would probably know that I had interviewed Kite, aka Denedrix, about maybe a week or two prior to that. I'm not exactly sure on the dates, but I did speak with him and his wife prior to that. And then I was contacted to interview her. I had no knowledge of anything that was going on prior to that. And it sucks that I have to explain myself. But also, I understand that there's a necessity at this point for me to do that. I'm glad that she did what she needed to do. I think the timeline kind of speaks for itself. If you're a thinking person, you can kind of see how things developed over time. I will also say this. I provided the entire 6-hour interview to the DA, to the prosecution. Many people may not know this, but I was interviewed as well by the DA's office around 2 years or so ago. They interviewed me. It is on record. And I spoke the truth and nothing but the truth. I explained that the interview did take place. The verbiage that was used within the interview. I have nothing to do with the charges that were brought against Eligio Bishop. Eligio is responsible and accountable for the people that he manipulated, controlled, and used and abused, and one of which eventually was able to bring charges against him. You can blame me until the cows come home. I don't give a fuck. Let me make that clear and let me make that known. You ain't got nothing on me. I did what was asked of me. I am proud of the help that I was able to give to at least stop the abuse that we saw taking place in that cult towards the end of his reign as the Messiah of DeKalb County. So I just wanted to say that, and I know that there's so much more that I would like to say. I think after this trial is over, after the court case is concluded, I can speak a little bit more freely. But I just want to kind of touch on those areas and just kind of put it out there that no, I had no knowledge of anything that was happening at the time. I have no idea what charges were being brought against Eligio. Take accountability and take responsibility for your own actions. And that is across the board. And I think the cult members, those that have testified thus far, they've taken accountability for the things that they saw, the things that they witnessed, the things that they participated in while they were a part of the cult. They have an understanding that they were mentally manipulated at that time, spiritually manipulated, financially manipulated, sexually manipulated, and abused, because no matter the outcome of this case, the fact remains that all of this abuse was prevalent and it was clear. It was well within the public eye. I think a lot of people are very emotional about this case just because it is quite an emotional thing watching people be abused and feeling helpless. Just imagine how maybe some of them, how they might have felt at the time. Helpless, lost, confused, feeling like they deserved it in some instances, no way out, so on and so forth. So I get it. It's been a very emotional ride, I think, for the insider and the outside observer as well, myself included. But I think we really need to understand that just getting to this point has been a victory within itself for the ex-members who were able to get away, who were able to free themselves after Eligio Bishop was arrested. And he's currently being held accountable. And like I said, no matter the outcome of this case, I'm glad that the victims have had a chance to lend their voice, to tell their truths, to tell their stories, and to kind of see the danger that they were in being a part of this cult. And there are still members that are still entrapped in this total manipulation that Eligio has been able to perpetrate upon so many people for so many years. There's a lot of people that have a lot to say. There's a lot of opinions across the board, and I get it. I understand, but I got to set the record straight, okay? I think sometimes people want to give credit to things because you've been involved in certain things and you've done things to, try to assist in the only ways that you can or the ways that you've been asked to. But I can't take credit for something that I had no knowledge of and that I simply didn't do. I'm glad that things worked out the way they did. I'm glad that Eligio was sat down for 2 years and not able to abuse people. He was still directing abuse even while in jail at the onset. Who knows if it's still going on now, but at least the cult was dismantled to a large degree. I know that there are still faithful members inside and out of it, but the impact is far less reaching now than it was before. And so I think you have to take the good with the bad, such as life. But you guys, let the victims, of which there are many, the primary victim is not the only one, let them have their day. I think that, like I said, a lot of opinions, a lot of emotions. They're high, they're low, they're all over the place. But try to maintain a balance. Try to see all sides of the ball here and kind of keep with an understanding that this was an abusive sex cult. There is no alleged as it relates to carbonation. It was absolutely a cult. It is the reason I was documenting the cult, because it's a cult and they live their lives online 24/7 nearly. And I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was heartbreaking. So many other, adjectives that I could use to describe what I saw over the past 5 years. But ultimately, like I said, when called upon, I tried to lend my help in the ways that I was asked to. However, I had no input, no idea of what his charges were. I was just as surprised as everyone else when the charges came out. And I don't know why I've held back saying that for the past few years, but I guess that just speaks to the power of the divine feminine at the end of the day. But you put yourself in the position that you're in, and now you are facing the judge and the jury, which everybody has their, he deserves to have his day in court, and that's what he's having right now. And I've already prepared myself that whatever that outcome is, I feel pretty safe to say that God has spoken, the one true God, the Almighty, not this mere mortal man who is currently fishing, trying anything in his power to get out of the situation that he's in. That interview didn't even touch the surface, detailing the events of that night. And now we get to hear it. She said no multiple times, and no means no. I don't care what you call the act. If you said no and you are pressuring her over and over and over, and there's an air, an environment, an atmosphere of violence, of fear, of intimidation, people are going to do what they have to do to survive in those moments. And that's something that I keep in mind, no matter what the situation. So I just wanted to say that. I'm going to end this now. Peace and love.